Welcome, guys. This is Tawanda at 7th Century Music, and I'm here today with Juri from MusicInfo.io. Now, Juri works for a very dope company which does amazing things internationally. These guys are distributing music all over the world. When I say all over the world, I'm talking about everywhere, including places like China. So we're going to teach you guys a little bit about how to get your music in places that you might not have thought about, but really, as an artist, I think you need to think outside the box. So let's dive into it. Juri, welcome, man. So good to speak to you again.
Hey, Tawanda. Well, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, you have it right. We distribute all over the world now. We actually specialize in distribution to China. And just starting this year, we have added global distribution to our territories so that it makes it easier for the artists to manage their music under one roof.
Awesome. So, I mean, just to give the guys the benefit of knowing exactly what you're doing, we're talking about distribution. For some artists already know what distribution is. Can you give me an idea of like how you work in terms of like some of your competitors? Because you'd be in the same sort of bracket as companies like DistroKid and Ditto, right? You guys are essentially putting music out onto streaming platforms for listeners to kind of access, isn't it?
Yeah, so we do digital distribution. And the way it works is you get access to the distribution platform where you would upload your sound files, artwork, all the metadata, copyright information, lyrics that accompanies your release. So you create your release. It can be an album of up to 50 tracks, or it could be a single. And you publish that release to all the digital service providers that we work with. At this moment, we have over 60 stores that we would publish your music to in China, and about 70 or more stores that we would publish your music globally. And on top of that, if you would like to also have your music sync licensed from the distribution platform, when you publish your release, you can also have your music sync licensed to China. And if you're unfamiliar with sync licensing, like how that's different from just regular distribution, is that a sync license works specifically with visual media. So you get your music to vloggers or TV shows, movies, advertisements, and that way you can generate a lot more visibility and also monetize your music otherwise than streaming and radio, or where people like to go to listen to their own music. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on how artists are represented on your platform at 7th Century.
Yeah, so on our platform, we basically function like a streaming platform. So think of it like on the front end, it looks just like Spotify. So when you go on our platform, 7thcentury.co.uk, you'll see a player with everything. You can add to a playlist, you can buy music, you can download free music, you can do all kinds of stuff. So that for the listener, it's very easy to them to understand what to do. Where it becomes a little bit more interesting is where in the back end, where the artist actually now begins to be able to download the data, which is the most important principle. So there's a principle that I like to call the 3D principle, which is you distribute your music first by just allowing your audience to essentially have a place where they can download and listen to your music. And once you do that, they can then essentially download your music or purchase it. When they do that, you get their data, which means their name and their email, only when they download or when they purchase. And then once that's done, then you can figure out how you monetize that audience by, again, either kind of giving them more things, bringing them to your live performances, selling merchandise to them. Because once you have that information, that's basically the basis of everything that goes on after that, which is the dollars part, the monetization part. So essentially, we function as a single platform. We don't distribute your music anywhere else. It's only on our platform, but we exist essentially to give you the technological tools to give you that marketing piece to allow you to market and to monetize your music effectively. So that's where we come in.
I see. Yeah. So it's not such a big step for a musician who has used your platform to then, if they want to expand their audience, come to Music Info and be able to distribute their music globally.
Exactly. I mean, I think what you guys do, and I remember when you first started speaking, the understanding of what you guys are doing being more global based. So although yes, of course, anyone around the world can listen to your music on our platform, but however, we don't do the distribution to the world, which is what you guys do, which is putting your music on streaming platforms. So I like to think of it almost as like a separate thing, where you're still distributing your music to places like China or Spotify or Deezer, and the wider global audience can access your music, which is what MusicInfo does. But what 7th Century does, however, is that when you're consolidating, when you're trying to get the most important thing, which is the real user data of who is actually listening to my music, then you'd want them to actually physically go and download your music or purchase your music somewhere. And that creates that sort of like a little funnel, right? So you have your music that takes people global, and then you bring them into this one place where you go, okay, now if you really want to connect with me, here's where you get my music. And then you get that information, and then you essentially do the whole kind of follow-up process with it. So it's about teaching artists how to do that kind of stuff. So absolutely, we think that streaming has a place. And I always say this: the slice is big enough for everyone. Streaming definitely has a place, because I love music streaming. You use it as well. I use it. It's great to listen to loads of music, and that's great for the consumer, the listener. So as a listener, I love it. But as an artist, I also have to have a way to gather the most important information, because I think a lot of artists get hung up on the fact that, oh, I'm trying to reach out to the millions of people that are out there in the world, billions of people, fantastic. But of the billions of people out there in the world, you probably have a few thousand fans. So how do you get to know those few thousand fans? There could be 1,000, there could be 10,000, there could be 100,000. But you just need to know who those people are.
Yeah,
Once you can do that, then you're powerful.
Yeah, and it's really about what's lacking in the streaming service is that engagement and that connection with your fans. So this seems to really like fill that gap that not only can you see the data, but from that is you're able to have a better connection to the music and the listeners.
So that's what it's about. I mean, I'm sure, as well as you know, you guys have worked with so many artists. I see all the comments on your site, and I look at the overriding sort of theme is that I've been able to do this with my music and put it out there to a different audience and engage with a different audience, and that's important. You need to be able to test out different markets, right? So the benefit of doing that by using your platform is to go out to different markets, testing it out and seeing, are there 1,000 people that like me over in this foreign country? Are there 1,000 people that like me here? Okay, great. Now, once I know who those 1,000 people are, then I can do something that's more important, and that's connection. Because you got to do more than just music nowadays, right? You got to be a lot more of a personality. People either come in and really want to get to know you, and by buying into you, that's how they essentially buy all the other stuff, which actually then allows you to make a living.
Yes, yeah. So is there, I guess, a social aspect to 7th Century? Is there that ability to do that?
At the moment, not directly on the platform. So it's just strictly a streaming platform at the moment, where you can just listen to music just like you would on Spotify, essentially. We are at the beta stage, which is like, base level of what it can do. So in other words, we've got a lot more ideas, but you can basically put your music on there, sell it, give away free music, sell it and get split payments in whatever currency you want, and split payments between your partners and your collaborators on a single song or an album. So that's pretty cool. You can do a lot more than that, but that's the base level at the moment. We've got a lot more ideas and a lot more functions we want to build into it. But for now, the way we're launching it is just very basic in terms of like, okay, you can stream your music, you can download your music, and you can essentially sell your music on the platform. With regards to the engagement piece, how we engage with artists, we do a couple of things. We do a thing called the Artist Podcast, which is like, you've seen it, where we basically interview artists from all over the world. Obviously, we're based in London, so typically that's who we start with, because we like to do the whole face-to-face thing. But there's no harm with us doing an artist interview, just like we're doing this, and just getting the audience to really get to know the artist more in depth. And I think people are really interested in learning about the artist, but unfortunately, I think with the whole, saturation of the stream platforms, there's so much music that they never really get to connect with the artist. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bridge that gap and create that connection between the audience and the artist. So getting the audience to really know more about their artist, to give them more of a different picture of them. So that's how we bridge that connection piece between the audience, which is the most important thing, and the artists themselves. So we sort of help the artists to do that.
Yes. Your interviews are really engaging, and you've worked with some big artists. It's really nice to see that an upcoming service like yours is so dedicated to showing kind of the backstage of the artist themselves. So how would an artist join 7th Century?
So I think there's a couple of ways. You could obviously go on our website and use the web chat feature, and you'd simply go in the web chat box. There's a little icon there. It shows up, and you can literally put your name and your number, and then just write artist there. That will put you into our system, and essentially we'll message you back. So someone from our team will message you back. Of course, this is an automated system because we want to work with hundreds and thousands of people. But then after that process, we then kind of let you know how to get started on the platform. Or you could simply just go on the platform and click login, or sign up rather, when you're starting out. And you would then have to sign up as an artist. So once you sign up, then essentially you'd be able to upload your music in literally less than a minute. So it's very, very simple and straightforward. You go on the site, you sign up that way. Or if you are inquiring, you can use that web chat feature and just inquire, send your message to us there. So those are primarily the two ways that we would onboard artists if they want to join the platform. And if you want to do something more interesting, say you wanted to have an interview with us as well, you can still use that web chat feature as well. And I'll put a link, maybe in the bottom here somewhere, we'll put a link. And you still use that web chat feature and just kind of type your message in. Hey, I'm an artist from so-and-so, from such a place. Here are my links to my music, and I'd love to have an interview with you guys. And then we'll get back to you that way. So that's very, very, the most basic and quickest way to get back to us would be via the chat feature on our website.
Okay, yeah, I'd say you have the chat features there.
Yeah, that's how we would do it. And just to kind of, I know people are probably interested in this, they want to know how much it costs, because we're talking about a lot of functions and a lot of things that it does. Well, for starters, we're only charging people like $30 a year, because we think that's a fair enough price to get you trying something that's new without taking too much of a risk. And we think that we should only make money when you, the artist, makes money. So if the artist makes money, then obviously we think that we should share in that kind of success. It also means that we're invested in you, the artist, being more successful as well. So we then take, obviously, the artist keeps 75% of all their shares, and we take 25%. And I think that's pretty good. From the artists that I've spoken to, I think they're pretty happy with that, most of them. So I think that's a fair exchange.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard level for entry artist.
You want to simplify the process for artists as best as you can. That's always, people who are in the music industry, you know how difficult it is collecting royalties, name where your money is at. So I think it's a great thing that you can simplify the whole process from, okay, I want to get my music out there. Here's how much it's going to cost. Simple flat fee, simple percentage, easy to understand. And then you're on your way and you're going, really. So
Yeah.
So how does that work? How much does it cost for you guys to distribute my music, say, globally and in China?
Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. We have a tiered entry fee. So based on the amount of releases that you would like to make, it starts at one release with our star plan. That's 29 euros. 3 releases with our bronze plan. That is 59 releases. And it goes up to gold for 10 releases, which is 99. And our platinum for 100 releases is 249 euros. This seems quite reasonable. And, the majority of our sales go to the star plan and the gold. Okay. If we have like a bigger customer who with a large catalog or record label, then they opt for the platinum plan. Apart from that, there is no yearly fee. Apart from the yearly fee, there are no extra costs. We provide all the UPC codes and ISRC codes for free. You can upload your music, right, take it down. We do all the edits for you. And we have a 15% commission for maintenance to keep your music live, and also the development of the platform.
Great, great. I think just so you don't miss this, people might be wondering why would you pay $249? That's the gold. I think is that the gold package?
Yeah, the platinum. So that's 100 releases.
Platinum, yeah, 100 releases. So I think if you might be questioning why would I release 100 songs, you might be doing that if you're releasing singles, right? Because today you need to do more than just albums. I know a lot of artists will do a single every single month or a couple of singles a month and then break it down. So just to keep the attention of your audience, I think it's actually a very good idea. So yeah, people, I think if you break that down cost wise, it makes more sense to do that because you're paying essentially $2 or $2.50 for a single, right? Essentially. So something like that. It'll break down, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It does become more affordable with a larger volume. And it also gives you more flexibility to plan your strategy, how you want to release your music, if you're going to just start with an album, and how you're going to release your new music, either in singles or what have you.
Yeah, I think that's great. I also work with a lot of people who are either record labels and agencies and managers. So those people might be managing the distribution for like other artists. I think so. Those packages will really be useful for them. Actually, I didn't actually know that about your platform. So I think that's a very good aspect of it. Maybe we can go more into that. How would someone register if they were, say, a manager or a label and want to sign up several artists?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of distribution services, they have a one-time fee, which seems like a really good deal, but that is only for one artist. So if you are a single artist and you're self-publishing your own music, then it works. But if you have multiple artists, and most often is the case where a song has multiple contributors, multiple artists on it, it's rare that you have just one singer, one person making the music, one composer doing everything. So it's usually a collaboration, and that would always cost more. So with our model is that a release allows you unlimited artists. So you get access to the distribution platform, and you have unlimited amount of artists, and you only pay per release.
Wow, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty cool. I think that works out a lot better for a lot of other partners who probably will look at using your platform. So you've got a lot of artists, and I think the last time we spoke, you said I think over 4,000 artists that you've represented now on your platform.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's definitely working. And when I looked at some of the comments from those artists and what they, essentially the experience with it is that it was very good. They tapped into an untapped market. That's just one of the benefits. But can you maybe tell me what will be the other benefits? Because obviously, you'd know more than I would. So what are some of the other benefits that someone would have using your platform as opposed to any of the other digital distribution platforms that don't necessarily maybe go into places like China?
So our main focus is mainland China. Most distributors have distribution to China, but they only have connection to Tencent and NetEase. Tencent Music Entertainment covers QQ, Kuwo, and Kugo. So those are 4 streaming platforms. And if you are okay with your music being on only 4 streaming platforms, that's like saying, okay, I've got my music on basically Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, and Tidal. Is that enough for you? Don't you want your music on internet radio, short video platforms, mobile device players? So there is a lot more coverage available in this territory that you're not getting your music to unless you have your music distributed to those services. And that's where we fill that gap.
That's awesome. So I think, a lot of these platforms I haven't heard of, right? Because a lot of us don't even look at China as a viable market. But thinking about it, it's kind of stupid not to, I think, in my opinion, because you're looking at over 1 billion people that you're probably neglecting in that
exactly.
part of the world.
The way I kind of paint the picture is if you take the biggest social media platforms in the world, you've got Facebook, Instagram, and they've got 4 billion people, and that's globally, excluding China. And then the next biggest social media platform is WeChat, and that is only China, and they have over 1 billion in itself. So this is one country with 1 billion of the social media population that you're not accessing unless you use the native Chinese services, because Western services don't work in China. So if you have your music on YouTube, it's not in China. If you have your music on Spotify, or one big misconception is TikTok, because yes, TikTok originated from China, but there is no TikTok in China. It's only outside China. They have Douyin, which looks exactly like TikTok, but it's their own version of TikTok. It's actually what I say is TikTok's big sister. So there is a lot more functionality, but it's basically the same social media, short video platform. But if you have your music on TikTok, you don't have your music in China. You have to get it on Douyin. And that is becoming more common knowledge, but it's still, artists are, I guess, a little bit unaware, or quite unaware of what their music situation is in the world, basically. So also with Music Info is that we try to, I guess, inform people about this possibility that to reach a much wider audience than what they already have. We have a lot of artists who they have distributed their music for years and haven't gotten much traction in their own home, and they have distributed to China and found an audience. They have made money. Wow. They've made a fan base. And so it is a possibility to bring new life to music that is just sitting on the shelf.
I love that. Just to catch on that point, because there's a misconception, I think, a lot of the time about, oh, why would I want to put my music in China? They don't listen to the same music that we do, but that's a misconception, right? Because they listen to, in fact, they love a lot of the same genres that we're into, the hip hop, the reggaes, the pop music and everything else. Most people assume China maybe with a lot more pop music than actual, like you said, other genres like hip hop and R&B. So what about that piece? How, what do you see in terms of like trends from a genre perspective?
It varies from platform to platform. The thing with China being a closed market for so many years is that they haven't really identified with a singular type of music. So you can find an audience for basically any kind of sound. Unlike, you may have heard of like C-pop, but
yes, people
compare that to K-pop, and C-pop just basically means popular Chinese music, whereas K-pop is a specific genre in itself that has been created by the artists in Korea. And when people hear K-pop, they know what it is. C-pop, it's basically just popular Chinese music. So
gotcha.
I guess, what do you call it, traditional genres music, classical, rock, pop, jazz, country, what have you. It's not so specifically defined, and you can also see that like in a global sense as well, because there are thousands of these subgenres, and it's also the culture in China as well. Like when you're looking for a type of music, is that you would search by mood or atmosphere. So you can have
Right, right.
you can have a playlist that is, say, it'll have a description of uh, uplifting, happy, fun, or relaxing, and there'll be many different kinds of music on this playlist, but it'll
Right.
all have that kind of atmosphere. Uh, and so, in that sense, it's a little bit more specific to the quality of music. What more can
Yeah.
I say?
Yeah, I mean, so just what I've got from that is that if you're an artist and you're distributing music in China, you might want to be more, would you say, setting up your bio or the metadata in your music to appeal to certain genres and moods. So as to not be vague, because if they are searching for music by a mood, it might make more sense to title your music something that is slightly obvious, or maybe put that somewhere in your metadata where it's a little bit more obvious what you're going to be listening to or expecting. I don't know. Does that make sense, or am I jumping on the wrong track here? I guess the answer is no. I mean, what would an artist have to do if they want to thrive? I mean, what are some of the tips that you could give there if they want to
Okay.
make it in China?
Yeah, it's just it's a lot to think about at the what would be a good answer. Yeah, it depends on your strategy of how you like to publish your music and create your music. Are you making music because you want to share something that you have created, written down, and something from your life, or do you want to find a way to monetize the system? Of course, you want to optimize or know the best way to optimize how to get your music the most plays, attract attention, most visibility. In China, the music that does well has catchy melody, catchy lyrics, lyrics that are easy to sing, melody that's easy to sing, something that's not too complicated, but having that content actually in the song itself will help it perform better.
Gotcha.
About the metadata, there are two ideas. Should I use Chinese characters? Should I use English characters? It can work both ways because if your fans know about you or are looking for music from abroad, is they will probably be searching using English or Arabic language
Yeah.
alphabet. I mean, if they are looking for something that is local or Chinese, they'll probably use Chinese characters. So I have seen albums that do really well, and they may have Chinese characters, they may have English language. There's really not one way to do anything.
Yeah, I think that's great. Actually, that's a fantastic answer because people might have been thinking. I spoke to a few people when I mentioned your company, now, and people are like, "China, how do I do that? What would I have to do in order for my music to really, excel? Do I have to change myself or change the titles or the content or the whatever?" And I think that's a very good breakdown of what you mentioned there. I think just to help people understand more about the demographic, that the demographic doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change your music, although you can do that as well if you wanted to do that. So I think that's fantastic. You just have to try stuff, I suppose, right? Just try different methods of approach, maybe.
Yes. And I think with every type of music, there is a specific type of listener. So already the kind of music creator you are, you're going to attract a certain type of listener. The music that does consistently really well on streaming platforms is like relaxing, background music, spa music, something for like children's easy listening music.
Wow.
Also, what would I say? Yeah, I guess background music. And that is something that is unique to streaming platforms because that music can be put on a list, and it can be just spun around.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have like more folk music, rock or rap, where your listeners are much more engaged in the content of that music, the lyrics, the artist themselves is that generates a different type of audience. And this also applies like outside China.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a fantastic point to take from that. And a lot of artists just create music because we love making music, and you find that you fit in wherever you particularly fit in whenever you make music. So that approach is always found. I've always believed to be the best approach, and then your audience will find you. That's what I'd like to believe anyway. So just be authentic is maybe perhaps the from my perspective, but I know people are different. Some people purely make music because I want to be on sync licensing, so they want to understand what to make first before they go out and make it. And I've seen people approach it that way as well. So yeah, no, it's not a one size fits all, I think, situation for sure. I had one final question that I wanted to ask. In terms of like after they've done the distribution, you've made your music, you've marketed it, it's done well, it's now out there, and people have consumed it, they streamed it. How does the collection of royalties go about on your platform? Does it all come in one central place, or how would I collect my royalties if I was an artist?
Yeah, we collect all the royalties on your behalf. We track all the usage of your music through the ISRC codes and the UPC codes. Right. You get a detailed report of the royalties, the usage of your music, on which platform, the type of user, because that would change the pay per stream. Right. So if you are a record label and you manage many artists, it'd be your responsibility to withdraw those royalties and then pay your artist. Once your music is live in China, we can also promote it. Right. Get your music on playlists, and also boost your music if you have video, make social media posts. So it's not the end of the line just distributing your music. Yeah, so as long as your music...
do you want go I was going to say, do you want to talk more about that promotion piece a little bit?
Yes, thanks. As long as your music is live in China, we have contact with private playlist owners on NetEase and QQ. So we will pitch your track to the playlist owner and get your music on the top 10 of a prominent, influential playlist. Most of these playlists have a daily accumulation of 20,000 or more streams. And the way it works is you purchase our service, we pitch your song, find a suitable playlist, and then we present that to you. If you accept it, then we seal the deal, and your track is on the playlist for at least a month. And in most cases, it stays on there. The contract with the playlist owner would then dissolve after a month, and it's up to them what they would like to do. In most cases, they just keep the song on the playlist, and it just kind of goes down the line as new tracks get added to the playlist. Rare cases, right, they might remove the track if they are not happy with it, but what I've seen with most of the playlists is that the tracks just move down the line. And this is one of the best ways that you can get ensure that you're going to get streamed on these platforms.
Wow. Okay, now that's a superb service. Does that come at an extra cost, or is that part of the services that you provide?
Yes. So our promotion services are extra to our distribution services, and we can playlist your music. So that's 125 euros. We can distribute your or your video, which is was it €49. We can also make paid posts to Weibo and WeChat with our social media pro. That is €69, sorry. Or if you just want to have a post to Weibo, which is kind of like Facebook, Twitter, that would be €39.
Gotcha. So there's a few different avenues. That's great to know, because you might want to try different things. I always think having a few options, not just having all your eggs in one basket, essentially, is a fantastic idea. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So is there anything I've missed out, Juri? Or I think we've covered a lot here. I just want to make sure that our audience has the full picture of what Music Info does. Where do we find you, Juri? If we want to upload our music, is it musicinfo.io? I take it is the website, right?
Yeah, that's right. Musicinfo.io.
Great. We'll have links below here anyway. We'll put that on the screen as well, but we'll have a link below this section as well. So that's fantastic. And if you want to join 7thCentury.co.uk, or if you want to come and have an interview with us, then of course just use the web chat feature on our platform 7thCentury.co.uk, or message us on any social media platform that 7th Century Music. So if you type that in, you'd find it, or 7th.century.music. Again, links below. We're on most social media platforms. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you guys there. So Juri, thank you so much, man, for your time. I really love this conversation. So much to learn. I probably have to take notes and rewatch it again. And I'm sure our audience will have to do that as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Tawanda. And I look forward to seeing 7th Century in all its glory. I'll be following you and keeping track of your progress.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. All the best. And I'll see you next time. I guess I'll speak to you soon. And yeah, guys, we'll see you again on the Artist Podcast. Hopefully you guys have subscribed. Thanks very much. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.